to jump into the video today, I just want to give you guys a heads up. I might be a little busy this week. Jess and I are in the process of moving into a new property, into a new home. And once we get moved in, I'll show you guys around through video and stuff like that. But depending on how much that move takes out of me, will dictate how many videos get posted this week. Usually it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But again, we'll see what happens. But today's video is coming off of a podcast that Eugene and I recently did for the Chewjitsu Podcast. It's Monday and it should be up already. So if you guys want to check it out, you can go listen to the full podcast there later on. But it was with a guy named Shawn Williams. Shawn Williams was one of the original Renzo Gracie black belts here in America. He was a training partner of John Danaher. He was got promoted the same day as John did as well. And one of the ideas that he was sharing on the podcast was about training and longevity, right? So as someone like him, right, he got started in his early 20s, back in like 96, and he's been training ever since. And, again, now in his 40s, we asked him about training and longevity because, as you get a little bit older, you start to realize that your body breaks down a little bit easier and you still want to train, but how do you keep getting mat time without getting injured? That's kind of a thing that we're all trying to, that's the nut we're all trying to crack, so to speak. And so he said that one of the ideas, strategies you could apply would be to train without attributes. That's the way that he worded it. And basically the idea behind it is to train without using the maximum amount of your strength and speed and athleticism. And this is something that I've heard my buddy Brandon McGaffron talk about getting more mat time, where you could train more at a lower intensity. And this is something I've had to incorporate a lot, over the last 5-6 years, because as I've gotten to my 30s, in my 20s, I could just train really hard. If I got an injury, I seemed to be better the next week. Whereas as I got into my later 20s and my 30s, I started to notice my body didn't recover as fast. I started to notice that, again, like for instance, I would train with some young guys, be fine after the training session, but then the next day I would be tired, they would be fine. I couldn't keep up that same every single day competitive pace that they were always trying to keep up. But I've still gotten a lot better in my 30s because of the fact that I started doing what I'm getting ready to talk about now. So I'm training on some days competitively, more intense if you will, but then most of my days are trained at a lower intensity. So this way I can get more mat time. I don't have to take that day completely off. I can train at a lower pace and I can still get some time to try things out. I can use my techniques, all that stuff. And you can think of this like lifting weights. If you go into the gym and you're always trying to max out and get a PR every day, and use the most amount of weight you can lift, you're probably going to get injured very quickly. And if not, you're probably simply going to be too fatigued to really see how well you could do. It's the same thing with running and sprinting and everything else. You can only sprint for a short duration. Then it becomes a jog or a run, but you can run for a long period of time. And so again, if you're trying to get more mat time in to where you can try using techniques and things like that, then it might be advantageous sometimes to lower that intensity down just a little bit. Take it down from 11, we'll just lower it down a little bit. A little Spinal Tap reference if anybody's seen the movie. But again, it's an idea. It's just a useful idea. Now there is a caveat to it, which is if you're brand new, probably not going to have a choice on your intensity that much, both from the people above you who are going to push you and do whatever they want to do, or your own self where you're so new to this stuff that you're just going to be super intense all the time. And then also you have to have good training partners. You have to have people that are willing to engage at that pace. Because if you're trying to play a little bit less intense and they're coming at you 1,000%, it's going to be very difficult to do that because again, they're coming at you. You're going to have to defend yourself, that kind of thing. And one sort of additional thing to add to this is that if you're going to play in this way, if you're not used to it, you're probably going to get beaten, if you will, on the mats a little bit more than what you're used to because you're taking away all your physical attributes, at least to some degree away. You're still going to have to use some muscle, but you're not going to be using as much. But I say that because a lot of times, again, we understand this idea of that we're learning from our failures when we're training during practice, but people still sometimes equate it to competitions. I know I used to when I was younger, where, when you compete in a tournament, when there's medals on the line and all this stuff, you either win or you lose. That's just the way it is. We learn from those losses, but we still lost. The other guy got the hand raised, he won. But when we're training, you're practicing. So if you mess up, it doesn't matter. It's practice. Try stuff out. Keep playing around. And this is a big hang up for a lot of people because I find that, when we have adults come in, take this for example, a lot of my young kids that come in when they train, they don't have such a dead set, this is wrong, this is right, this is good, this is bad. They try stuff out and they play a lot. They just, I've seen kids develop daily Hiva guards because they're just screwing around with stuff. And I'm like, this kid doesn't even know what he's doing. He's playing daily Hiva, he doesn't even realize it, right? But then when you watch adults, not all of them, but a lot of adults are just kind of afraid to get their hands dirty, right? They're afraid of like doing the wrong thing. So they'll be in a position, instead of just grabbing something and let's see what happens, they go, coach, I don't know what to do here. I haven't been shown a technique from this position. You know, sometimes you just got to try things. And this type of rolling can be a great chance to try things out if you're relaxed enough. But again, you got to be willing to fail a little bit when you're doing it. So just a heads up if you decide to try it. But again, just a useful tip if you're getting a little bit older, or if you're trying to get more mat time and stay injured less, just lower the intensity down. And then again, you can always turn it up and do a competitive roll or competitive type of rolling and really turn up the intensity at certain times. I like to have maybe 1 to 2 days a week where I really push it, and then the other days are done more but a lower intensity. That kind of tends to be pretty good for me most of the time. Usually 2 days a week where I'll go hard and really push myself, and then the other days of the week when I'm training, I kind of lower the intensity down a little bit. That allows me to train more often without getting banged up all the time. So anyway, hopefully that's useful to you guys, and hopefully this move doesn't take too much out of me, and I'll talk to you guys next time.